Hey everybody, I had some requests for a tutorial on how I did the light painting pictures of the vehicles. Um, it's going to be a bit difficult to get a video of the actual shooting, but I can throw together a quick video here of the editing. As far as shooting goes, I recommend just getting out to a dark area, get your hands on a light of some kind, and you can use pretty much anything. And then just start taking pictures. And the first few are probably not going to turn out very well at all. Um, you'll start out way too dim, and then you'll overexpose things. You'll start getting the exposure down a little bit. And then you'll notice on quite a few of them, all of these 3/4 shots, I'm not using at all because, as you can see, I completely missed focus on them, which is really sad. So we're planning a reshoot on those. Um, the next thing that I do is I upload everything and then I just start sorting through. By the way, real quick note on the lights themselves. This is the ice light. It is like the light to use. I shoot weddings with another guy who is a very, very big fan of his ice light. That being said, I used this light right here for these pictures. The one biggest difference that you'll notice is that you can see the individual lights in the light bar that I use. The lights themselves are individual in there, and this is not a frosted shield. So you can see the individual lights in the pictures, but that doesn't really bother me. In fact, in some of the pictures, I really kind of like the effect. So um, anyway, like I said, I upload everything and I just start sorting through and I say, okay, in this picture, I really like these front areas down here by the radiator grill. I kind of like the mirrors. I really like this color in the nose, so I'm definitely going to mark that one as good. This one has some pretty good highlights in it, especially down in this area. This is also very, very nice. A little bit more color in this one than that one. You're going to get more color by standing a little bit further away. The closer you get with the light, the more contrasty the light is going to be. That said, you don't want to ever get the light between the lens and the car, or the pictures will be pretty much unusable. I learned that the hard way back when I did the shots of my Miata. So I like this one as well. This one has some really nice color and some really nice highlights, but a lot of these just got a little bit too uneven. I don't think I'm going to use that one at all. I like from this one that we can see the radiator grill a little bit. I stood back on this one and just kind of shined the light towards the car from a distance, which is why you can see so much light around the bottom here. So we'll grab the radiator grill from that one. Excuse me. And then I noticed that we could not see the headlights through the glare, and I wanted to be able to see the headlights a little bit, so we did a couple here. Once again, just standing back and shining the light towards the car without really getting it very close at all. So we'll pull the headlights out of that one. The next thing that we're going to do, which is already done for these, but I can just show you, we'll pull these open. And we are going to, oh, that's a little bit out of range here. Give me just 1 second. There we go. I adjusted my contrast a little bit. I bumped saturation and vibrance just a tiny, tiny bit. You really don't want to go very far with those. It just makes it look just a little bit more vibrant, but it's certainly not unrealistic like you see some photographers doing. The white balance for my particular light is daylight. And these are not all the same now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one that I have edited. We select all, and we're going to synchronize the settings. And then we'll hit done. And Photoshop comes up. We come back here and with all of these highlighted, we're going to go up to the menu bar under Tools, Photoshop, load files into Photoshop layers. And as soon as my little spinny ball goes away, I will size Photoshop down so that you can see what's going on a little bit better here. But the next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to go through and we're going to pick out what we like from each individual picture. And what I mean by that is earlier where we said, oh hey, I like this radiator grill, I like the headlights from such and such, so I start at the bottom because it's easier. This one is headlights and maybe radiator. The next one, nose color and radiator surround. And I think I like the windshield off of this one the most. And we'll pull in a little bit of this highlight here. Actually, I think we could maybe even do away with this one altogether. We'll see. Maybe color. And this top one is going to be windshield and mirrors at the least. And so then at that point, I'm going to bring my smallest item to the top. So the thing that I want the smallest area from, I'm going to bring to the top. That's the way that I find this to be easiest. I'm going to create a layer mask. I'm going to grab my paint bucket, which is G. I'm going to pick my default colors of black and white with D and then switch them with X. And I'm going to paint my layer mask black, which makes the whole layer invisible. I'm then going to grab my brush. I'm going to size it down a little ways. I'm going with a fuzzy brush. I'm going to make that brush white. And then I'm just going to start painting that layer mask in a little bit. And so we get some of those headlight details there. I can switch between black and white. That'll make this layer either visible or invisible. And we can kind of get rid of some of that shine there. We'll pull that back in. And we'll do the same thing over here on this headlight. Just pull in some of those details. Oops, but not too much. And we can make this visible or invisible here. This is a little bit too light down in here. We'll pull some color there from a different layer. So we can see our changes there. Once again, I think I did a little bit too much right up in here. And that is better. So that's good there. Next, I like the windshield and mirrors off of this one. So once again, I'm going to select my paint bucket, make that whole thing invisible, switch back to white, and grab my paintbrush. And I'm going to paint in the windshield here. And I did notice as I was painting that the lettering in here got dimmer, and I kind of like that lettering, so I'm going to bring that back just a little bit. And I like the mirrors off of that one as well. So once again, we can see the difference there. And there's a little bit of a double image here now, so I'm just going to go in and, whoops, wrong color. Definitely the wrong color. Just going to go in and clean that up a little bit. And then I'll make my brush bigger and fuzzier to blend the colors through. So that's a little bit overexposed, but I really like down in here on it. And so we are definitely, I'm going to kind of go the opposite route on this one, and I'm just going to paint out the areas that I'd like to see show through. What else do I like? I maybe even like the letters a little more, but not that. Good. And there you have it. The very last couple steps that we're going to do, we can merge all of our visible layers into a new layer. The shortcut for that is Command-Alt-Shift-E on a Mac, or I think it's Control-Alt-Shift-E on a PC. And we're going to create one new layer that is everything that was below it, and that just allows us to go in here and mask out things like these bugs. And I won't spend a ton. This is the bit that probably takes the most time, to be honest. Whoops. So I won't spend too terribly long on it. I'll just kind of give you an idea of how it goes. And I always do kind of a rough editing of this, and then I like to grab my stamp tool once I have some cleaned up areas to blend colors. You can see I got like a highlight here, and we can blend that out with the stamp. I got a little bit too much of the lip down here, so we can blend that out. And this is, like I said, a very quick, rough and dirty job of this, but it just gives you an idea. I did notice that my picture was not entirely level, and so we can grab our ruler tool and we'll find 2 points that should be the same. I'll use the top of the headlights going across. And then once we have selected a line with our ruler, if we go to Image, Image Rotation Arbitrary, it will automatically put in the angle needed in order to level the picture. And so we will allow that to rotate the canvas. And we can just crop it down to get rid of our white space. And I'll take this point, or this time, to center myself right on the lotus badge here. Once that's done, I make a new layer up top, grab my brush, make sure it's black, make it big and fuzzy, and I will just paint out the sky a little bit. This is the kind of stuff you get when you are not terribly careful with making sure that things are dark. You will also notice some spots like this and this right here. These are all from streetlights that were around. Here's another one that's from a streetlight. Down here on the carbon fiber lip are all from streetlights. So the darker the area you can get, the better. We were in a very, very dark area here, but there was just a little bit of streetlight showing. But we can come in here, make our brush a little smaller, and mask some of those areas out as well. I got just a little too much here on the top. And then finally, I make another layer, and I'm going to zoom out a little ways. It just makes it a little easier to grab a big fuzzy brush way off the canvas here and just start kind of cleaning up the edge of the pavement and just really rough that in nice and wide around the car here. And then finally I make one last one, make it slightly smaller and less fuzzy so we don't get onto the car, and close it in even more. And then I drop the opacity of that layer just a little bit. You can also play around with some different modes for that layer as well. Some of them are kind of neat. So there you have it. We went from, we can just use this one as an example of our final final product versus potentially one of the original shots. And it's all just from stacking layers and masking. I would, if I was really taking time with this, go in and clean up some of these reflections and things like that as well. If you notice, the ones that I uploaded have a lot of this stuff is touched up. I spent obviously a lot more time on the final product, but I think that this serves fairly well as a tutorial. Thank you.